And I have differences on that we can agree. But the thing that really tears me up is that you won't stand up for the perfect commands for faithful love so we can all live free. Sucks. Can't understand the way that you are with me. No, with me. Life's eternal. Commands to obey eternal natural laws for life and sacrifice provided by infinite glory are perfect. You see, you see. I'm just making up silly songs because they had this dude on there. It was like Hagen or whatever. I can't remember what his name was, right? And it sat there and it said, he said something about, doing about this atmosphere thing that does this. And it says, pray to have this atmosphere. And I went and looked at the video. It was 11 fucking hours. I was like, God damn, it's 11 hours? Someone that stupid and you'd have to listen to him talk for 11 hours? Unsex me now. Shut up, Maida Macbeth. Let's just commit suicide now. Macbeth's never going to win. Right? Okay. Never mind. Take thy 5 cents and prick thy face hither. Shit. As I wasn't really paying attention to the basketball game, I thought for sure the Spurs had it locked up. I didn't expect the greatest comeback in the history of the league thing. I was like, wow, that was pretty fucked up. I didn't see that coming. Neither did the kids in San Antonio. Yeah, that was sure different. Yeah. People that don't predict. I wasn't predicting anything. I was just looking at it, thinking, "Wow, with this way it is, bam, it's gonna just totally deflate New York, and San Antonio's gonna take them back to San Antonio, and then they're just gonna come down strong, But it didn't happen that way. So I was like, "Wow, that's interesting. It's interesting." Interesting. Yeah, it's 100th monkey syndrome. Everybody's washing off their potato because, they're as happy as they're flying around in a helicopter and they're as happy as a tornado in a trailer park. Hey, look at the cones. I don't know. Life is a highway. I want to drive it all night long. When you have bad relative group brain activity, it's hard to deal with. And, when they're doing bad science projects because they have no intention on changing the environment for the brain to act differently, right? We're like with me, my grandpa was conceived by probably an aristocrat jerk, then raised by an Irish person to hate himself, according to all the DNA tests. But we don't know if those are for sure. The Mormon church lies. Yeah, they sure do. And, to make the narrative fit their scripts, so and they lie. Oh yeah, they do. Oh yeah, they do shit that they shouldn't be doing, and forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, and why have you forsaken me? And yeah, they do shit they shouldn't be doing. The Vatican does, NASA does, they all do, and you have to just hold true to that. If you're not using your technology to share the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer, understand the humble faith of Psalms and sustain it with wisdom or Proverbs, that just sucks. And that's not making an erroneous statement or an irresponsible statement, right? Because when you're not being proper authority, when you're not doing things correctly, okay. 1 and 1 is 2, it's like, no, it's 17 if we want to make it so. I get it. When you're doing things wrong, like Suzuki said, then you should not expect to, experts. These people are experts. They're experts at this. No, they're not. They're insidious, abusive, manipulative bitches. Okay. An expert is somebody who does something right, like live the Lord's Prayer. Oh, money's not real. Don't kill and fight over it. Don't, it's a shift of the wealth with the SpaceX thing. A shift of wealth? Okay. Wealth is faithful love. Oh, maybe it is. But how can that shift? It doesn't shift. It's always right on time. Love is you, love is me. Love is just a little baby. There is no shift of wealth. You either understand wealth and share wealth or you don't. Okay? You can't shift it. You can't sit there. See, if someone decides, I'm going to be wealthy like Earl and Bob Marley, then they tell everybody and NASA doesn't suck anymore. And then there's no really shift of wealth. It's just now we're all wealthy because we're living in the kingdom of heaven in a God of Davida. Don't you know that I love you? Right? So fuckers. You know, because it's like I was getting him out in the barn when I was sitting there, you know, and I was getting this stuff with the whole thing, you know, what I say and know and do about cancer, you know. Um, I know I'm right and I know they're wrong because I know they're doing things wrong. And if I'm guilty, I will pay. Yeah, I shot the sheriff, Lord, I didn't shot no deputy. Right? Sheriff Brown, John Brown always hated me for what? I don't know. Every time I plant a seed, he say, kill it before it grows. You know, so I was, and I saw Sheriff John Brown aiming to shoot me down, so I shot him down. And I say, boom, 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 boom. I think Sheriff John Brown is the guy with the AI that's a bad person, and we know Sheriff John Brown's a bad person. I shot the sheriff, Lord, I didn't shot no deputy. No. And so the sheriff literally shot himself because I'm like, just live the Lord's Prayer, you stupid little cunnilingus face. You can't, you're not an expert. You're an insidious, excessive, compulsive turd bag. Okay. An expert is red on yellow, kill a feather, red on black, friend of Jack. You know, an expert is like Suzuki or Krishnamurti or, you know, myself. Expert, yeah, I guess I could, you know, as far as expertise on humility and the truth that evolves from that humility. So, you know, when we walk like a human being and not a Homo erectus that runs around. They had that commercial with the dude chasing the monkey for the rock. And it's like, damn, it's Day Day and Cullen in the pawn shop in Indonesia all over again. J.P. Morgan, huh? NASA sucks, right? And so you like sitting there watching, and then they had this thing that what made I was more interested in the basketball game was the human footprint, the arc of extinction from prehistory to prehistory. They call it prehistory. Yeah, it's like what prehistory? I mean, there was a history before history. What were you? Oh, we were the furry kid. And the Slee Stacks. I get it. Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition. Went to prehistory down a cliff. Did we have an expedition to go find the mole people to do commerce with them? You're sarcastic. Yeah, I am. I don't know if that's true or not. Makes for a funny story, like Ship High in Transit, you know. Remember Hans? He was the coolest. Yeah, Hans, Sergi, and I can't remember the kiddo. I liked him, the little blonde kid that went to NAU. And we were listening to the game on the radio when the Jacks, it was when Clintock, I think, was on the team. And it was that blonde kid. He was a real good little point guard. Kyle, I can't remember. But they beat UCLA at Poly. Yeah, we were excited because we were both sitting there, and he got it on. I was like, oh, wow, cool. Oh, shit, we're close. We're hitting our free throws. You know, that was pretty cool. We were all sitting there listening. You know, we all got distracted because, and then you know, our boss came in and he wasn't paying attention either. And then Tom comes in, Tom Blatcher. Tom's all, oh shit, and he's sitting there too. So we're all in there. And then the other guys come in from the, you know, you got guys coming in from the what was that guy's name? The Mexican guy who had the, you know, the World Series and what was his name? They worked the USA Today in that building, and he came in and started listening with us too. And and he's, oh wow, U of A is about to beat UCLA in the Poly Pavilion. Yeah, we had the whole damn, everybody started coming, all sports fans started rolling into Casual Relief and listening to the game because he'd hooked it up, and we were all sitting there listening. It was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. Like, go Lumberjacks. Yeah, they went to the tournament that year. I don't know if they won a game. I can't remember. They had McClintock. He ended up playing for the Denver Nuggets for a couple of years. Yeah, he was a good shooter. You know, not real athletic, but he was 7 feet tall, and he had good footwork, and he had a good shot. Yeah. So he was, yep. That was 1999. Did they have Robinson? And is that Duncan's rookie year? Can't remember. Marshall, Will, and Holly. Dumb people in this town, man. They're the dumbest people. The dumbest fucking people. Jesus was so right in Sierra Vista. Just be as selfish and stupid as you possibly can be, and then just try to keep going. You can't do that. It's like the present civilization. It cannot last. That was 1936. That was 90 years ago when the guy like the Buddha was video recorded by some people in Australia that wanted all the murder and the conflict to end then, There were some sweethearts, and some they were rich people, probably the women. I'm just kidding around. I'm sure there are nice guys that, are dumb because they inherit the money, and you don't know what it takes. You don't know what it's like to kill people, to kill people, to keep the girls scavenging over your trust fund. Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, Green Goblin. Make it stop. I'm working on it. But yeah, they're nuts. See, they hate their kids because their kids hate them. Because they shelter their kids from what they did to be wealthy. It's just live the Lord's Prayer and stop being a cunnilingus face. And then I'm out there in the barn and they're talking about the stuff. Well, you couldn't trust Amy because she's okay. Because the old man was part of a gangbang running a train on this bitch at a Mississippi Job Corps. Okay. Well, holy jihad, Batman. Amy can decide if she wants to be like the bar hopping. Run a train, which she has a lot of tendencies to be like the biological father. We all know that. Okay. But Janice wanted it to be romantic and, made up a lie about what she said and what happened to Amy to make Amy feel like, it's the way Janice wanted it to, because that's what the guy said was going to happen. He lied to her. Yeah, it happens. I'm fixing to run a train on this bitch. Yeah. And there are more guys like that than you care to, shake a stick at, Everyone considered him the coward of the county. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck that pussy till the story. Isn't that Jodie Foster? Yeah, okay. Wasn't she? No, that was Tatum O'Neal was on Paper Moon. Okay. Who's Jodie Foster? Was Tatum O'Neal also the pitcher on Boilermaker? Buttermaker? Yeah. Boilermaker. Was that Tatum O'Neal too? I think it was. Jodie Foster, I can't remember. She was a kid actress, 2-person. Yeah, I saw a sex scene with her on. Was it The Very Long Engagement? Yeah. It's your whole perspective changes when you see women and sex. It's like, oh, my blood runs cold. Like when I saw Mary Poppins' boobs for the first time, that was like, whoa. Victor Victoria. I was like, that's Maria's boobs. It's Mary Poppins' boobs. Those are her boobs. We're not supposed to see Mary Poppins and Maria's boobs. How do you solve a problem like Maria? How do you solve? So that changes your whole perspective. It kind of like takes you to okay, like Sergeant Gillette. What was her name again? Sergeant Gillette. Yeah. With when Donovan and she came and she was doing it because she wanted to. Yeah. She brought back to the room because she wasn't really interested in being Donovan. She started it with me there, and I just got up and left. I was just like, oh my gosh. Well, her husband was in a wheelchair and she had her needs, and he knew. He was cool about it. And me, I was just like, oh shit. I knew she liked me. And she was just testing the waters, girl. Can't blame a girl for trying. It made me uncomfortable. I didn't tell anyone. Jeff told everybody. When Brian came and asked me about it, he said, Ralph, he said, yeah, I was in there and I got up and I saw, when he took her shirt off and started going on her boobs and she looked right at me and I looked at her and I said, I just kind of lowered my eyes and walked out the door. Okay. I understood. I didn't judge her. I just, I don't have a person, I wasn't married to a person that was in the military and then lost their capacity to have and enjoy sex as much and lose his lower body because of psychotic behaviors, because of assholes like you, who are, you and Fred Prince on the Ark of Extinction in prehistory. And so, Marshall, Will, and Holly, look out for the giant mosquitoes. Okay, on a routine expedition. That reminds me, tomorrow I got to put down, we'll do that tonight while we're waiting for this load. I'll go look up the little guy on YouTuber and, some of them bitch. And look up the garlic thing and get the sprayer at old, what's the name of that place? Lowe's, okay, or Home Depot or whatever. Well, I'm going to go check Big Lots and see if they've got any Chase Lounges. And if they're less expensive than Lowe's or Home Depot, I could also check Charge. I don't know. They might have a less expensive one. So I'll check all them, see if there's a Chase Lounge, and don't forget a big new comfy beach towel, to lay on. Satin sheets to lie on, satin pillows to cry on. Still, I'm not happy, don't you see? What was Sheb Willie's? I can't remember what it was. It was funny though. Sheb, Roger Miller's good buddy. What was she thinks I steal cars just because he has all these cars in the barn in this parts. It's funny. Just because she thinks I steal cars. It's funny. No, what was the other one that they had? Sheb Woolley and they're funny. Oh, they were very, very funny. He did spoofs on all the country songs. They were hilarious. He did from Una Paloma Blanca, but I forgot what it was. He was funny. No, Shep Willie was hilarious. Yeah, old Roger Miller's good buddy. Yeah, same little town in Arkansas. Is it Arkansas or was it Oklahoma? I think it's Oklahoma. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and watch the documentary again. Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug. Yeah. Yeah. Where have all the average people gone? Yeah. But whew, I'm tired. Dealing with these people, they are crazy manipulators and mind fuckers. They always want to look expert and, move the crowd. It's like, okay, just stand up for the Lord's Prayer, and no one really cares who wins the last basketball game of the year at the quote highest level. What's the highest level? I don't know. I don't know. Since the best basketball player in Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan's generation walked away from it because the people were psychotic, and the best person at understanding, explaining psychology and physics and stuff like that, Arizona State University, dropped out in 1999 because economics is genocidal. I mean, what's the highest level? Just be humble, forgive debt and trespass, love one, zero, feel for peace. Oh, balance, harmony, and understanding. Let's focus on that. The present civilization, it cannot last. It's built solely on human greed, not human need. When you look at life eternally, you truly will have work for all, and all the things that you now speak about and grope for in vain will be at your grasp. And the arc of extinction with the human footprint, I think the people that are putting out all the propaganda to have the virtual presence in New York when all the humans are dead, to have their brain on a robot to see if the cats turn into flying cats to eat all the rats, are pretty much writing their own narrative. And I think they can't get out of it. I think it's kind of like Thunder the Barbarian. And what else did that guy write? I can't remember. But was it G.I. Joe? Yeah, G.I. Joe and Thunder the Barbarian. Cobra, la 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 la. It's like, wow, some people's imaginations. Yeah. And we get caught up in it. You guys do Game of Thrones and Stephen King and Sleepwalkers and Christine and Carrie and Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile and so on, so forth, and fantasy football and fantasy this, and if I were a rich dog, I'd have steak for breakfast and steak for lunch and steak for supper. And remember when Dad was singing that to Jiggles, and then she tore up the seat. I thought for sure he's going to kill her, but he didn't. I wanted to, because she didn't tear up his side, she tore up my side. Okay. We put it all back together in duct tape, but I had that dog with fur all over me, slobbering all over my clothes, and everywhere we went to things, I smelled like dog. I was covered in her fur. She slobbered all over me, so I couldn't look at the girls and say, hi, I'm the Shaggy DA. Okay. But so I'm sitting there and all the springs were poking me in the fucking ass all the way from Utah to Colville. I didn't have a lot of ass meat. Joe Coy didn't have nothing on me. And, instead of his mom squeezing her hand, I had a chubby, fat, bratty little cute dog putting her fur all over me, slobbering the whole way and sitting on springs because she tore up the seat to make it more comfortable. Yeah, she didn't tear up his side. His was comfortable. Yeah. Oh, I was real comfortable. Yeah, old Jiggles. Dumb dog. Jerry always said that stupid dog. Then he felt bad because she climbed into a dumpster. And the dumpsters were in the ground. She got stuck in it, and it made her bottom half go, did damage to her spinal column, and they had to have her, she suffered and was uncomfortable when she passed away, and she was still alive, and they took her to the vet, and they had to put her down. And then he felt bad. It's like, no, she was, don't feel bad. Dogs are dogs, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And Jiggles was not the sharpest tool in the city, but she sure was cute, she'd always get loose and run down the hill, and me and Teresa would go chase her, and I'd have to carry her back up that hill. That dog was like 80 pounds, and I was skinny. Teresa got, yeah, I got it, stupid dog. Just dumb dog. Stupid dog. I'd take care of all the pets. Yeah. Always. Czar, Jiggles. Yeah, I was the pet man. Yeah, I always was. Amy, same thing happened with Zeke and the cats and the kids. She'd go get pregnant. I'd take care of the kids. It was just always that way. It's the same thing right now. People go, I'm going to go get pregnant and get a job for the mass murderers that think they run the world. Then I'm going to have lots of kids, and Jesus is going to save them and take them to heaven. And you're going to go to hell because you think Bob Marley understands the Gospels better than Oral Roberts. No, I know Bob Marley understands the Gospels. I don't think. Jared Falwell's full of shit, man. Oral Roberts and Creflo Dollar and Joyce Meyer and Joel Osteen. Morans. Bob Marley, he had really good help with Haile Selassie. John the Baptist is the Messiah. Okay, he's just like Jesus. Except the Romans didn't turn the black guy into the god; they did the guy that looks more like an Italian. Okay. Quando. Right. So, do I look Italian there? What do you mullies know? What do you think? You're pissing me off there. Murphy! Murphy married to a goddamn Ubangi there, and then when you get Charlie and old Eddie there, huh? Yeah, you ain't gonna do shit. Okay. You shoot the old snaggletooth man in the head? Okay. Your parents are dead. You didn't kill him, did you? That shit was stupid. Yeah, Eddie Murphy wrote that. Yeah, I know. It's a dumb movie. It's a very dumb movie. It makes people that are criminal look like they're, empathetic characters. And the thing about it is once you start realizing you're a criminal, you need to stop being a criminal to be an empathetic character. Otherwise, you ruin people's lives. Yeah, took all my money, and it may sound funny, but I come to get my money back, Chlamydia, gonorrhea, get your sister and let's get out of here, and stuff. And so, yeah, when you're doing wrong, two wrongs don't make a right. And so once you realize you're wrong, you need to quit. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost and now I found, was blind but now I see, right? Once you realize you're wrong, you can't go back to doing wrong, right? Gospel of Paul, howdy doody time. Okay, Buffalo Bob, stop talking for that chunk of wood. You don't need money to pay idiots to live here and sell Cheerios on TV, you bloody fucking idiot, or Apple Jacks, or Captain Crunchberries for that matter. Ritalin. Yeah, those kind of sugars and stuff like that. There's other things you can eat that are, have some cantaloupe strawberries for crying out loud. It's ambrosia. I keep holding on. Yeah, sunrise. There's a new sunrise in your eyes. I can see a new horizon. Yeah, everybody else like David Pack. Make a list, baby, of the things I'll do for you. That's such a good tone. I like that. That's one of my good ones. I wrote it down. I was gonna write down the words to people, but like I said, I fixed the lyrics. Yeah, it's the soul and the lovingest people. Because there's no such thing as luck. That's something they make up because there's a goddamn pot of gold at the end of the rainbow where the Ubangis have all their, I'm just kidding. I like Eddie Murphy. Yeah, he's a dumbass. What were you thinking with the whole 5-star girl thing there? Your penis was thinking for it there, wasn't you? Yeah. Ah, okay. You need to tell your penis is stupid. That cost you a lot of money. You flew all the way to England for that, and it didn't even pan out for your ass there. Okay, see what happens when you start thinking with your dick there? Thinking, damn, she's cute. She got an English accent. I know. I had the same thought process about Jane Eugene, Karen Wheeler. Ooh lolly golly, what a day. Yeah, this goes on and on and on. Isn't Karen Wheeler, is she British? She's British. All British girls. She's back to life. All those girls British. Wasn't she on Loose Ends before she was on, Jazzy B with So to So They? I don't know. But it's, I'm not sure. It's good, you know, it's when they go, oh, British accent there. So it's really, they start, you know, singing and then they talk and it's really neat. Because they're sitting there singing, it's like, y'all don't sing like you British and shit. You don't sound like Herman's Hermits and the Beatles and shit, yo. And then they be talking, and it's like, why don't you sing like you talk? That's just crazy, yo. Yeah. Well, you know, Mary McKeeva speaks with a, you know, an African accent, but she don't sing with an African accent. That's true. Malika. Even when she sings in African, she still don't sing with an African accent. Yes, she does, but okay, maybe she does. Yeah, she does. But what other songs? Well, she sings Mas Que Nada. Yeah, that's in Portuguese, right? Mas Que Nada. I like that song. Yeah, me too. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go so this don't take too long to load. And I'll talk to you monkey butts tomorrow. Smoky nuts. Okay. ICP, you know, I don't have them on the MP3. It's not something I want to hear and play for the family that much. But, you know, I'm just not that angry and that mad. So I don't have Rammstein or Disturbed. I know Patrick likes them, but, you know, he can listen to them on his own time because, you know, I'd rather listen to Rain Can Can. Yeah, I played for tonight. Yeah, that's a damn good song. Okay, guys. But I love you. I'm sure Patrick will like it too. Patrick don't like ranchero music. He doesn't like the organs and stuff. You know, I was like, that's not bad. It's really good. You ought to hear Rancho Grande. It's pretty good. But, yeah, you know, to each his own, to each his own. For me, there's you. Okay, guys, I love you. We'll talk later. All right, peace out, man.